So today on Madak Business View, I get to sit down with Elizabeth Mason, graphic designer here at Madak, and what we're going to talk about a little bit with Elizabeth is more of the creative process. Dig into that with the clients and managing different processes and everything. So Elizabeth, thanks for taking time to sit down today.
No problem.
So, as you know, a pillar part of the creative process here, and there's a lot of things that kind of come through your desks, and they range from plumbing to sports tech to food safety, real estate. How do you manage all the different brands and the personalities that they all kind of have from day to day?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it, like you're saying, is like knowing the brand and knowing exactly what they do. And then another part of it is just knowing their like guidelines and their style, and then just moving forward with that.
So on that, with the styles and everything, and so we try to make brand books straight out the gate, but that's not always the case. So how do we combat that? How do you? Because most of our clients need to hit the ground running, like most businesses, they got to get after it right away. So we want to like set a brand standards and then work, and so do those evolve over time? How does that like process work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like with Visual Edges it did, but it was mostly complete, I would say, when I made that brand guide and we started that process, except for like a couple elements or something got added, but it's nice when a brand is near completion.
Right, so then you complete it, but then organically some things kind of come out of it naturally as the client starts to work with it, as the market starts to participate. Okay, so but in specific, so give me an example of a fun industry that you like working here. I mean, is it the plumbing that's been the fun because it's been the digital ads? It's the baseball and visual edge. What has really sparked your creativity here?
Raymark has been a lot of fun just because the possibilities seem to be like endless with that one, and we've only like scratched the surface, it seems like. Right. But Windermere is just very like clean and consistent, which I appreciate, and that's been a good one to work on because it just stays consistent.
Yeah, and classic, right? So
yeah.
it's I agree, and part of that is all the work that the Windermere corporate has put into their overarching brand for however long they've been around. So.
Yeah, and I was going to say Discover San Camino. It was fun too because that's local and seeing stuff actually up all the time. It was always fulfilling.
And then that one, same thing. Both of them has been time. Right, so we've had time with the brand.
Totally.
Let it mature a little bit. And then
get comfortable with it.
Yeah, so do you I always feel that the brand book never is complete. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think in a sense, I mean, Windermere seems kind of locked, but we still kind of do stuff that maybe is outside of the brand book sometimes, but still fits,
sure.
I would say. So, yeah, I think when the look is there, you can maybe sort of bend it a little bit every once in a while.
Does that kind of add up to a whole brand treatment? Right?
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Okay. And I guess going back to the original question a little bit, I just think it's good for people to know that when you work on the agency side, you really do bounce from different industry to industry versus being internal.
Yeah.
And it almost like, in some ways it can be kind of drive you mad a little bit, but in some ways it's keeps you fresh and thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to take it one project at a time. Like, that's how I think of it. I don't think of like the 80 things I have to do. It's like, what am I going to do right now first? And so that's what I do. And then I break up like longer projects with like little 1 second to 5 minute things just to get my mind off of something longer. Yeah, to break it up. So that's helped me.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Like, can you resize this picture? I'll just do that in like 4 seconds and then go back to whatever I was doing before. It was like a little break. So
nice.
It's worked.
So you get a little bit of both. A little bit of time to build things out, but then a little bit of, hey, we need your help right away right now.
Yeah, all those projects, they all happen.
Okay, so that kind of dovetails into here we have the whole strategy department and client services and the organization and everything, and then it gets pushed over to the creative team, which you're a part of. And so I would be interested to know a little bit more about how the setup of the strategy team and the calendaring and the organization helps your creative process, and what are some things that we can be thinking through that will help improve that creative process and really kind of set you up for success? Because we want to give you parameters to play within, but I want you to be as creative as possible.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's just me knowing the brand as much as I possibly need to, I guess. Like, I don't need the little strategy details.
So throughout my career, I've always needed like the next day to come back to it, and maybe that's just my process, but it's
Definitely.
like I would sit down and do a couple of hours and it would get me so far, and then I would be like thinking about it and like, oh, I would maybe try this or try that. So then by the time I come back to it, you know, at the computer the next day, 12 hours, 18 hours
totally.
later, you've got all these ideas, now you can implement it, and then it takes it to the next step and the next step.
Yeah, that happened to me yesterday, actually. I was working on a PowerPoint presentation for a client, and I was like, I just need to step away from this. Like, I feel like I've exhausted all my options that I can do right now. And so I came back to it today, and it was like a lot fresher. And so it totally happens like that for me too.
Great. So that kind of talks a little bit about blending the strategy and the creative side of what we do here. And we have a Madak Method here, right? Which we, I think more recently, we're kind of ganging up the research and the strategy together into a big process and pulling all the information together. And then it goes through this creative cycle, which is what we just talked about. But I think there's many different aspects of that. There's building the brand. There's creating content and campaigns.
Yeah, and then like I said earlier, there's our level of research too, just seeing what's out there. So it's kind of a mini process in a process.
So we need to get you all the information sooner than later so you can start your onboarding process. And with the rest of the creative team, really start to develop the flow and the vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Something that makes sense and is eye-catching to people.
Okay. So I guess the last thing that I wanted to mention was, or kind of think through, was what is it that you think that we as Madak are offering differently to our clients and the industries that we're hitting, and you know, how does that, you know, differentiate us as an agency?
We're offering a lot of unique minds, and we're offering a lot of experience in a diverse range of industries, which I think is really cool about this place. It's like we don't work on the same type of client twice. They're all very different from each other. So it's a lot of different ways of thinking, which I think is really unique, and I think it's a really good part of us.
And it all blends together into this undefined, amazing service.
Yeah, and we're all just really good at what we do, and we have fun here and enjoy it here, which is important. Yeah.
And we're defining our processes. We're making the method stronger. We're developing our systems, and all while delivering creative content.
Yeah.
So then, same type of thing. I think the more time, you know, we're just at 3 years now as a company. So the more time we do things, we see how many things we can do better and improve on, and just
it's all a work in progress.
So, Elizabeth, thank you for coming to the Madak Business View.
Thanks for having me.
Episode 2. And I'm not sure who next week is, but it'll be a great time. You better tune in and be there.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, for coming in like you were.
Get out of here.
Thanks for coming in.